All right, Shabbat Shalom. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another one of our Israelites gathering Shabbat studies. My name is Yadon Yasharal with my brother Kased Yasharala. Shabbat Shalom, Mark. How you doing?
Hey, Shabbat Shalom. Yeah, I'm blessed and thankful, as always, to enter into another Shabbat.
Praise Yah, praise Yah. Absolutely, absolutely. We were talking a little bit offline. As many of you know, Brother Cassette is from Atlanta, Georgia, but he has migrated all the way to the Netherlands with family, and he's going through certain things. And one thing we were talking about is just the citizenship. The hoops that they got people going through to get citizenship, and why it's so difficult. And of course, with us so-called black people, it's always been difficult for us to get citizenship, even in places where, we were brought captive. But now specifically, there's a lot of talk about citizenship with what's going on. So before we get started, again, we are Israelites Gathering. You can download our application for your cell phone. It's also entitled Israelites Gathering. It's a free download for Android and Apple. And you can visit our website at israelitegathering.com. Before we get started, the first thing I want to talk about is this government shutdown. We don't really, focus too much on politics, but you have to pay attention to what's going on in the land that you live. So now it's been 3 weeks. This is the second longest shutdown in U.S. history. And I'm going to get down to the things that are going to affect many of us, because we even have many of our own members with Israelites Gathering are being affected by this. If you have a government job or you work with the military or anything of that nature, even my own daughter, which is visiting today, keeping Shabbat with us, she's in the National Guard. So all these type of things affect us and affect our income and our families. So one thing that I wanted to bring out is that, and this will affect you, is the Pentagon just accepted $130 million anonymous donation for the troop shutdown. So they're going to continue paying troops regardless of the shutdown. So obviously, if your family is dependent on that and you have family in the military, that's a good thing. But that's also a message in itself. First of all, we're accepting $130 million anonymously, which is, so who's really paying for the military? Where's this money coming from? We can only speculate. So that's something to raise an eyebrow. And supposedly, there's 2 million service members that were at risk with their paycheck if the shutdown happened. Now, this is how it's going to affect the rest of the people. So if something isn't done beginning Friday, you're going to have many workers starting this Friday. Ongoing government shutdown hitting thousands of federal workers on Friday. More than 500,000 federal workers are missing their first full paycheck on Friday as the government shutdown hits day 24. So and add insult to injury, the Senate out. They taking a break. So for them to work and vote on this stuff, they need to come and get something, if that's what they were trying to do, done, so people don't lose their paycheck. So this is not the first time this has happened. Government shutdown is politics. Again, we don't try to mix too much, with our belief system with politics, but we have to pay attention to what's going on. And I brought this up for a reason. The next thing I want to talk about is ICE. So we see, we haven't talked a lot about it, but you see what's going on. ICE is being used very strategically to detain individuals, to enter specific areas. We got situations like Chicago where they sent all these military age immigrants specifically from Venezuela into specific projects in Chicago. And then they turn around and send ICE to come bag up all these same people in these projects, which are mainly black. But then now they're grabbing these Venezuelans that they put over there out of that area. So ICE is being used strategically, sort of similar to how sending the National Guard into specific cities to police. It's strategic. So what does that have to do with this? Well, ICE, because of the one big beautiful bill, they gave them $75 billion in funding. So even the immigration customs enforcement is going to be funded regardless of whether they come together and make this decision to get this budget together. So why? What does that have to do with us? Well, pay attention. Look at the writing in the wall. They are putting their money into ensuring that the military gets paid, and they're put an extra billion, 74, what was it, $75 billion or something like that, extra that they put into immigration enforcement to make sure they control who is coming in and out of our country. So I have to write this out for some people because maybe not be as apparent. But what this is showing is that we are getting ready and positioning to be at war with nations. This Israel and Gaza and America and Russia and China and all these countries that are taking their stances. So before we get into a major conflict, we have to ensure that our borders are protected. We got to ensure that all these military age men aren't going to join some big military coup and destroy us from the inside out. That's why he had to ensure ICE had their money. So again, that is for us to understand what's happening around us. We shouldn't be walking around acting like this is normal. This is not normal. We see what's happening in the world. We have to prepare our own homes and our own spirits for prophecy about to be unfolding. Now, when that's going to happen, we don't get in the business of that. I'm not a prophet. Y'all, at least he didn't tell me I was a prophet. So I can't tell you exactly when it's going to happen. I can only tell you the things that are going to happen and look at the things that are going on in our current day to prepare for what is eventually going to happen. So that's all I wanted to go over that. Let's go ahead and get into the class. So the title of our Shabbat study today is Eternal Crossroad, Eternal Crossroad, choose life or death. With everything that's going on in society right now, we believe that we have all the time in the world to, make whatever changes that we want to make. But unfortunately, you have people your age, young like you, dying. We see it in the news. We have friends, we have family members, things like that. And we all thought that we'd have more time. But the reality is we don't. We don't know if we have much time. So we don't know in our own personal lives when we are at the crossroad. And the crossroad, you have to go left or right. You can't go back. You can't be physically born again. And you can't move forward. You're going to have to make a decision, choose life or death. So we're going to examine that. And how can I choose life? What is choosing life? What can I physically do? Because I can't choose salvation for myself. Only the Most High can grant that. But how do I show and how do I make it be known to the Most High that I'm choosing life? That's what I vote for. I vote to live. All right. So we're going to open up in the Apocrypha. So if you do not have access to the original King James Bible, you can always go to our website or our application for Israelites Gathering, and you can get access to all these things free. So we're going to open up in the book of Second Esdras, chapter 7. So Second Esdras is literally like fourth Ezra, the book of Ezra, the prophet Ezra. In your version, Brother Nathan, you have the Ezra. But they took portions of Ezra out and they created a second Esdras and a third Esdras, which are other books. So you're not going to find it in the King James. It's in Kylie's book. Yeah. The book of Ezra is there, but they took portions out, that same elder. And the reason they took out portions of that same prophet was because a lot of the stuff that we're reading is pertaining to today and our people, what we are going to be experiencing now and what we need to do. All right. And again, this is an open forum. So if you have questions, comments, whether you agree or disagree, As long as we do things decently in order, we can get to it. And please bear in mind, like I said, Facebook has been giving us problem with our comments. I don't see some of these comments until after the class, until the stream is over. So if I miss you, Salakia, it's not intentional. So Shabbat Shalom, Sis Ariel, good to see you. Shabbat Shalom, as always, to my big brother Yafi, Yehuda, good to see you, fam. And Shabbat Shalom to the Hicks family. Shabbat Shalom, Stephanie. Good to see you, sis. All right, so we're opening up in Second Esdras. All right, let me pull up the scripts and it'll be up on the screen, so we'll be able to read it. Second Esdras chapter 7. And I shared the wrong thing. Excuse me. Let me share the scripts. All right, Second Esdras. So we're going into 1611, Second Esdras chapter 7, and we're going to read verses 1 through 25. Because what makes us very unique as a people is that all were not created the same. We were not all created the same. The Most High decided that he was going to select one nation out of all the nations in the earth to make a covenant with. So what that did with us is it changed the playing field as far as how we obtain unto our salvation. The rest of the nations can obtain to salvation as well, but they can only obtain in certain means. We have to obtain our salvation through a more difficult route. It's a more difficult route, but we're given more specific instructions. So Second Esdras chapter 7, we're reading verses 1 through 25.
All right, Second Esdras chapter 7 and verse 1. And when I had made an end of speaking these words, there was sent unto me an angel, which had been sent unto me the night before. And he said unto me, Up, Esdras, and hear the words that I am come to tell you. And I said, Speak on, my Elohim. Then said he unto me, The sea is set in a wide place, that it might be deep and great. But put the case, the entrance were the entrance were narrow and like a river. Who then could go into the sea to look upon it and to rule it? And he went not through the narrow, how could he come into the broad? There is also another thing. A city is built and set upon a broad field, and is full of all good things.
All right, so again, this is parabolic, but this is also real. This is a real city. So this city that we're speaking about here is New Jerusalem. This is the new heaven and the new earth. Everything on it, it's full of all good things, which means there's no wickedness, there's no evil. So we know this isn't not a real city that is here now, because the adversary, the devil, is still here. All right, verse 7.
The entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were a fire on the right hand, and on the left a deep water.
All right, so imagine you're facing this beautiful city like heaven, or the kingdom of Yah, this beautiful city with nothing but good things. But the entrance to that city is very narrow, and it's set in a dangerous place. So in order to enter into that city, you got to pass through this dangerous place. And it's so dangerous that on one side, on the right, is a flaming fire. And we know we're not fireproof. And on the left side is a deep water. And one thing we know about a lot of our people, we can't swim. So these are dangerous situations. But to get to this good place, you have to travel down this narrow path. Did not Christ say, wide is the path to destruction and narrow is the path to life, and very few go therein? All right, so Where's he getting these parables from? All right, verse 8.
And one only path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once.
So this road and this path is so narrow that only one person can go at a time. That means I can't carry you, Kylie. I can't carry you, I can't carry my wife to far. I can't carry anybody. It's only enough for one person to go at a time. And again, it's so narrow, death and fire on one side, the right, deep abyss on the left. But we have to go. We have to go that route. Go ahead.
Verse 9. If this city were now given unto a man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance?
All right. So if this is the inheritance, life, this city's eternal life, everything that's good, life, eternal life, that is our inheritance. But we must pass this dangerous place. And if we don't, we can't inherit it. So if we don't inherit life, what's the only other thing we can inherit? Absolutely, death. Verse 10.
And I said, It is so, master. Then said he unto me, Even so also is Yasharal's portion, or
Okay,
Israel.
so he said Yasharal's portion, or Israel in the English. So did it say Esau's portion? Ramim's portion, Rome, Italy, all that? Did it say Javan, Greece? Did it say Ashkenaz? It said specifically, this is our portion. So whether you know you Israel or not, you have to walk down that path. Now you can stop walking, but the only other thing you can inherit is death. Because Israel, Yasharal, this is your portion. You have to walk this way in order to get to that eternal life. It ain't like that for everybody. So it's unfair if you are walking in life thinking that you can do what these Euro Gentiles do, or what these Asiatics do, or what these Hamite Africans do, because they look like us, because they also black people, and think that we're going to get the same result. And many of us are, but we're not getting the same result because we're at the bottom, the most talented people, but we're the only people in the world that cannot tell you their nationality if it wasn't for this word. Tomshi?
So I have a question real quick.
Go ahead, bro.
Regarding this image that is being painted here, what came to mind for me is Proverbs 24:1, and it says, Be not you envious against evil men, neither desire to be with them. So my question is it fair to say, like, in regards to this image, like those who are choosing evil are essentially like those who are almost like jumping in the fire or jumping in that deep water from that image,
Right. Whether you
or
know
like
it,
choosing to go there willingly?
absolutely. Whether you know it or not. When you jump into water, you don't immediately get wet. When you put your hand over the fire, you don't immediately get burned. There's a delay. The brain has a delay before you receive the message that, hey, you about to die. So just because you didn't feel it, or what if you are paralyzed? You think a paralyzed person roll his wheelchair in the fire, he's not going to burn because he don't feel it? Oh, yeah, it's hot outside. No, he's still going to die. So this is the same thing spiritually. We might not know it, but we are making a choice between life and death. And we're going to validate that because we all die physically. But after that, what happens after that? That's what we're preparing for. All right. You have a question?
All right.
I did.
Hold on 1 second, bro. Go ahead.
So could you explain more like when he says like even so is Israel's portion? Could you like explain kind of more what that means?
Okay. So what he's saying is this parable that he's giving about, hey, there's a broad sea and there's only a narrow entrance. You got to go through that narrow entrance to get into the broad sea. Then he turns around and says, hey, look, there's this city full of all good things. If it's all good things, that means there's no bad things, right? And in order for you to get here, you got to go down this narrow path, right? And it sounds very parabolic, it sounds like life, like life's a box of chocolates, right? Sounds like that. But then he ends the parable and says, oh, yeah, by the way, Israel, this is your portion. So Israel, so you understand, that's the English. The place they call Israel right now is a land that they call the state of Israel that the United Nations put their Europeans there in 1948 or something like 42, something like that. So that's not who they're talking about. Those people weren't even there or even around, even in the region at the time this was written. This is talking about the original inhabitants of the land, the children of Israel.
Okay, so like post, like pre, like Nazis type stuff, like so the
Biblical.
The Jews weren't there yet. It was more the people that are already there.
Right. Jew is a term that it was brought for Judea.
Yeah.
Judea was called Judea when it was being occupied by the Greeks, because that's not our language. Even Israel is not our language. Israel is Greek. The Hebrew term with Hebrew letters is Yasharal, Yasharallah, for an Israelite. Yasharal is kingdom of Yasharal. Yasharallah means an Israelite. So that's the ancient. So Kylie has been raised from young age to understand that she has a nationality, which is the people being described in this book. So just say that you don't believe it or you don't understand it, which I'm not questioning that, right? But just consider if it is true and this applies to you, this shows you the type of danger that you're in. All right, so verse 11.
Because for their sakes I made the world. And when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that now is done.
So this group, which is Israel in the English, which is Yasharal, right? He's telling you, the Most High is telling you, because this is a prophet, Ezra speaking, not speaking his own words, that this whole world was made for you. Everything in here was made for us. Everything. So in order for us to inherit everything, we got to go down the path, just like a trust fund. For you to gain this trust fund, there's usually some stipulation beyond the person dying. Like, well, you're going to have to graduate school, or you're going to have to become 18, you're going to have to get a job, you have to get married or whatever for you to access that money. Well, the Most High had a trust for us. He said, listen, you're going to inherit this city with all good things, but you have to go this route. Now, the other nations have to go a similar route, but it's a lot broader. It's not as narrow as our route. Just like Kylie's upbringing was a lot stricter than her sister's because she's my firstborn. I put a lot of pressure on her because she's the one that I hold responsibility for the rest of her young sisters. So we're responsible for the rest of our young brothers, which is the rest of the nations. That's why we have to be on point. Because daddy, when he come in, I ain't going to ask Yazaniah what's going on. Who am I coming to? Firstborn. All right. Tamshi.
Verse 12. Then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. They are but few and evil, full of perils and very painful. For the entrances of the elder world were wide and sure, and brought immortal fruit. If then they that live labor not to enter these straight and vain things, they can never receive those that are laid up for them. Verse 15. Now therefore, why disquietest you yourself, seeing you are but a corruptible man? And why are you moved, whereas you are but mortal? Why have you not considered in your mind this thing that is to come, rather than that which is present?
So again, why are we only considering the things that are present? Like this bill's due next week. Like I'm upset with this person. Like I'm hungry or what? Why are we so concerned with that right now? If we have been given this information about what's ahead of us and the difficult path. What kind of father would that be that would not prepare his child if they have to take a long journey and they about to go through dangerous territory? Even a poor father, a horrible father, gonna at least say, "Hey, look, I might not be able to help you, but hey, just watch your back." He gonna say something. So, do we think the Most High not gonna prepare us for this? He's gonna prepare us, and as we get closer, our youth are evidence of how close we're getting because they have to be at a higher standard. They're learning things at 17, 18, 15, 12, 20, 26 that elders, our elders didn't even know this. They couldn't even explain these things because you all, the youth, are being put in the change of when things are about to change over. Satan ruling this world right now. We can see it clearly because you get punished for doing the right thing, but you get rewarded for doing the wrong thing. We about to leave that time and go to a different time where it's going to be the other way around. But it's a sharp cut. And that's why we're being prepared.
Verse 17. Then answered I and said, O Yahweh that bearest rule, you have ordained in your law that the righteous should inherit these things, but that the ungodly should perish. Nevertheless, the righteous shall suffer straight things and hope for wide. For they that have done wickedly have suffered the straight things, and yet shall not see the wide.
All right, so the straight thing. So we all traveling down this narrow path. And none of us is perfect. Ain't none of us is Christ. I mean, unless you Christ. Nah, I'm not him. So ain't none of us perfect. But we all, Israel, all have to travel down that path. So as we travel down that path, that's the straight, narrow path. What's on the left and what's on the right?
Right. Deep sea.
Right. So we all getting getting wet, getting, we getting burnt up going down this path because we not perfect. We trying to stumble, and especially our generation, because we just a few generations from slavery. So we just learning who we are, getting freedom to actually try to do the right thing. So we are suffering these straight things, but in hopes of getting to that wide thing, which is that eternal life, which is peace, to finally not have to look over your shoulder and know what your tomorrow is. It's love, it's joy, it's the most high, it's life. That's what we head into. But we are suffering some of the same thing that the wicked suffer. The wicked, that's all he getting is deep abyss and fire. But we're going through some of those same things.
Verse 19. And he said unto me, there is no judge above Elohim, and none that has understanding above the highest. For there be many that perish in this life, because they despise the law of Elohim that is set before them.
And that's what happens. This law, this word was given to us, to our people, wasn't given to nobody else. They got it out of the benefit from us. But at the end of the day, many of our people and many other people, because they hate the law of Most High. The Most High say, listen, ain't no a man marrying no man, ain't no sleeping with another man's wife, ain't no eating pork, ain't no doing all these different things that the Most High say in his law. And we all sinners, so we've all transgressed it. So I'm not sitting here acting like anybody in this room or anybody in this world is perfect. But at the end of the day, if you hate that law and despise from a Hebrew standpoint, don't mean a strong dislike. Despise means if you take something that's supposed to be valued way up high and you place the value down here. You take my daughter who's supposed to be treated way up here and you treat her like this, that's telling me you despise her, you hate her from a biblical standpoint. So when we take the Most High and he say, this is how you live, you represent me, I'm the king, you're my princes, you're my children, and I say live at this standard, and you say I don't care because TV say I can do what I want. Trump, look at what he doing what he want. This is the American way. We perish because of that, because there's only one standard that he's allowing for us: deep abyss, fire, all good things. That's the only three choices. Tamshi.
verse 21. For Elohim has given straight commandment to such as came, what they should do to live, even as they came, and what they should observe to avoid punishment. Nevertheless, they were not obedient unto him, but spake against him, and imagined vain things.
All right. So again, we imagine vain things. So what is vain things? Vain things, vanity is something that's temporary. It might feel good, it might sound good, it might even taste good, but it ain't gonna last. So when we make it up in our mind, we make up God. God is love. God is this person in my mind that's gonna justify whatever I do because it makes me feel good. Because it makes me feel comfortable with who I am. I don't have to change according to his standard. That will make you feel good in the moment. It'll feel good because you know what? I'm okay. I'm all right. But that ain't gonna last. That's why you got so much depression going on in the world. You got people, billionaires, millionaires, can't keep a husband, can't keep a wife, can't keep friends, can't keep sanity, can't keep sobriety because they're unhappy. They thought that this money was going to get it, this person, this celebrity fame or recognition was going to get it, but it's not helping them. That's why you got all these rich people taking therapy and all this stuff because they imagine in vain things. The Most High said, you want happiness, you want life, you want health. There's only one way to get it, but you can get things that kind of look like it. Those are the vain things.
Just want to add real quick that Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 11 says, and I gave them my statutes and showed them my judgments, which if a man do, he shall even live in them.
Absolutely. He didn't want for us. He didn't want for us to suffer. What father or mother want they child to suffer? You want your child to be stronger, and if it takes some suffering to get strength, then hey, I'm with it. But I don't want you just to arbitrarily suffer. Oh, I just want them to suffer. No, ain't no regular parent gonna do that. Not a perfection like the Most High. Good point, Art.
Second Esdras chapter 7 and verse 22. Nevertheless, they were not obedient unto him, but spake against him, and imagined vain things, and deceived themselves by their wicked deeds, and said of the Most High that he is not, and knew not his ways. But his law have they despised, and denied his covenants, and his statutes have they not been faithful, and in his statutes have they not been faithful, and have not performed his works. And therefore, Esdras, for the empty are empty things, and for the full are the full things.
All right. So again, for those empty, void of the spirit, then there's those empty things in the world that have no spirit, have no value. No, they're not going to last. They're temporary. But for the full, those full of the spirit, you have the full things. I said all those good things, those are here for us.
It's kind of like feeding your body versus feeding your soul type of thing.
Absolutely. You feed your body. What happens to 100% of the food? Do you absorb 100% of it?
Whatever.
Right.
But in your soul, like you feed your soul, it gets bigger, you become more healthier as an individual. In your soul, you keep that forever, but your body is like a shell up until you do die. So
absolutely.
Feed your body, your soul starves, and you feed your soul, your body starves in a way. That's why people have the like desire to sin in certain ways.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the term soul in the Bible refers more to just your physical flesh, your breathing body. But I understand what you're saying. Your spirit, feeding your spirit, your soul in Hebrew is nefesh. So that term gets mixed up a lot. But I understand absolutely what you're saying, and you're absolutely right. It's completely different. That soul does not get full. Like, oh, I'm just so full of the spirit, it's too much. Can't do any more good. No, it don't work that way. But That food, you can only absorb so much, the rest of it is gone. Praise y'all.
And to add on real quick,
Mm-hmm.
if you're consuming, like say, if you're only consuming fast food and processed food, a lot of this stuff is just empty calories, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not really got any real nutrition on it. So if you're just doing that on a physical sense, you're going to get sick. Sick. So likewise, if you're consuming and paying heed to lying vanities and allowing these demonic entities to come into your vessel, then you're going to become spiritually sick as well. And that stuff you might think, oh, if I do this or if I go do that, it's going to make me feel better or whatnot. But you're really just, like the scripture says, paying heed to lying vanities. These things are just emptiness. That's really what vanity is. It's emptiness. It's nothingness.
Right.
And that's what you're going to be left with at the end of the day if you keep going down that route.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's move on. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 30, Devarim chapter 30.
I have a question. What's that word supposed to be?
What word?
Like it's a crossroad between life, death, and that would be, is that Hijit?
Oh, that's just AI.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Confusion. It's confusion ahead of you. There's only one way you can go. Or you could die, go deaf, but all right, so we're going to Deuteronomy, Devarim, chapter 30, and we're going to start that at verse 1.
All right. Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 1. And it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon you, the blessing and the curse which I have set before you, and you shall call them to mind among all the nations, whether Yahweh your Elohim has driven you.
All right. So again, we talked about, you know, salvation, eternal life is available for everybody, but our path is a little bit more difficult because we got a little bit more of a gift in advance than everybody else. It says that he set before us, which is in Deuteronomy 28, blessing or curse. So when you are royalty, there's a blessing and a curse for you. A blessing because you're royalty, because your father is the king, your family member is the king, you get all the royal treatment, you get all the blessings. But if you decide to act like a joker or a poor person or a servant, there's going to be punishment. And that's how the Most High enacted with us. He said, you decide you want to be kings and queens. Well, this is how you need to act, royal, according to the royal law. If you do, you're going to get all these blessings. If you don't, you're going to get these curses. So we obviously did not keep the commandments. So we received the curses. So this Bible is so advanced. Even at the time when he's telling us to make the decision, he's already telling us, you're not going to keep the commandments. You're going to get cursed. And in the future, your children, that's what we're picking up now. And this is how ain't no book talk like that, telling you what's happened in the past, now, and what's going to happen in the future to one group of people. Verse 2.
And shall return unto Yahweh your Elohim, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command you this day, you and your children, with all your heart and with all your soul.
So he's telling us you're going to break these commandments and you're going to get these curses and be cursed above all the nations in the earth. But in the latter days, you are going to return to Yahweh your Elohim. You're going to return to, when you see the Lord in the original Hebrew writing, it would have said Yahweh in the ancient letters. So we just replace it when we read, but we're reading the same thing. He said you're going to return to your God and the commandments that he gave us, you and your children, and with all your soul. See, when they talk about your soul right here, they're saying all your body. If I say, oh, I love the Most High with all my body, but then yet I'm eating pork, messing up my physical flesh. I'm tattooing myself all over, putting marks all over my body. I'm out of shape, not taking care of myself. I'm probably not going to live too long. That's not all your soul. That's not all your breathing ability. I'm 6'10", and I should be able to reach people at a higher level. I'm not doing it. I'm not using all my soul.
Verse 3, that then Yahweh your Elohim will turn your captivity and have compassion upon you, and will return and gather you from all the nations where Yahweh your Elohim has scattered you.
You ever heard of a church talk about that? Talking about will turn your captivity and have compassion on. This is Deuteronomy. This is after they left Egypt. How he talking? What captivity he talking about? First of all, we were in 7 captivities as a people. We only know about this last one. 7 other, well, not 7, 6 other times we were in captivity. And it's all here in that book. And it even goes as far to tell you what nations had us captive. But they pulling this stuff out because they don't want you to follow the line and say, oh, you mean we the real people of the Bible? They don't want that. So he's talking about, I'm going to gather you from all the nations where you're at, and I'm going to bring you back. Verse 4.
If any of yours be driven out unto the outmost parts of heaven, from thence will Yahweh your Elohim gather you, and from thence will he fetch you.
So it don't matter where you at. My brother in the Netherlands, it's literally Netherland. It's way out there. Wherever you at, the Most High is going to recover his people. There'll be a brother like, who would think that in the Netherlands is going to be an Israelite? The Netherlands is what, like 80% European or something like that, white European? I'm just, estimating. It's not a very diverse place in comparison to America and some of the other countries. But yet,
no, not at all. It's a very small country too.
Right. Very small country. But yet you have brothers there. And even when he got there was other Israelites to support him, to make sure he not feeling absolutely alone.
I just looked it up.
Go ahead, brother.
The Netherlands is approximately 81 to 84% white. And I think, it's crazy. Yeah, IUIC actually has a branch out here.
So it's like
Crazy,
the
right?
opposite of Jamaica. Jamaica about 80-something% black. The Netherlands is the opposite of that. But despite that, wherever you are, I don't care if you in Hawaii or anywhere, the Most High gonna send a servant of the Most High to come see you so that you have a chance to get back on the narrow path and get to where you need to go. Tom Sheep.
Verse 5. And Yahweh your Elohim will bring you into the land which your fathers possessed, and you shall possess it, and he will do you good and multiply you above your fathers.
So he gonna multiply us above our forefathers. Bring us into the land that we possessed. We possessed this land, America. There was all type of people here. Africans, there was the Eskimos, the so-called Native Americans, all different types of people had migrated here, but nobody was from this particular region. We have a place. Everybody else has a place they can go to and say, my people are from here. We going here. My people are from here. And if you ask the so-called Jewish people where they from, they tell you where they from. Oh, we from Poland. We're from Russia. We're from Ukraine. All those leaders over there in the state of Israel, and they probably gonna shut us down for this, but all those people that over there with all those so-called Netanyahu and Hezekiah and Moshe and all these names, they changed their names. They weren't born with that name, just like here, us. We weren't born with these Hebrew names, many of us. We found out who we are and changed our names to our forefathers' names. They decided to just hijack it and got the whole world believing like this is who they were. They just got there in the 40s. They got there in the time that grandma was alive. So this is not some old thing that's been going on. Tom Sheep.
Verse 6, and Yahweh your Elohim will circumcise your heart and the heart of your seed to love Yah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul, that you may live. And Yah your Elohim will put all these curses upon your enemies and on them that hate you, which persecuted you.
All right. So the devil is spending all his money and all his power right now is to try to convince you that you can go against the Most High and receive happiness. And that's how things will work out for you. Because this is the way. Bible is old. These are back in Bible times. If this is back in Bible times, how is it talking about our captivity now and all the places? We obviously still in Bible times. If the whole Bible ain't been fulfilled, how are we not in biblical times? But the devil's marketing will try to convince you. But at the end of the day, we're watching it being reversed on him. All the devil and all the devil's people is getting the judgment now. Everything that you see going on right now in society, that's not for us. We had our time. We went through our punishment. We are in the rehabilitation phase where we're remembering who we are. Our children are getting second, third generation Israelites, where we're being able to understand from babies, where even your baby sister grew up with that understanding of having the opportunity to at least hear and know who we are. So them curses are on them now. Now you're seeing all the stick and all that stuff that they were trying to use to hurt us is hurting them. Their people dying.
Verse 8, and you shall return and obey the voice of Yahweh and do all his commandments, which I command you this day. And Yahweh your Elohim will make you plenteous in every work of your hand, in the fruit of your body, and in the fruit of your cattle, and in the fruit of your land for good. For Yahweh will again rejoice over you for good, as he rejoiced over your fathers. You know what's funny here about this about this verse is that it shows you that Yah is going to bless our deeds. And for me, it's just confirmation. Like when you look at our people, and it's like we've always been kind of given this stereotype that, black people are lazy and this, and it's like I've never known that to be true. Every black man that I've known has always been very hard working, from my father, my uncles, everyone. And it's crazy because it's like I know this exists, and yet it seems like no matter how hard we work, we just can't get ahead. We can't accomplish anything. And when you read the scripture, it really shows you why, and it shows you because we weren't keeping his ways, we weren't doing his commandments, and that's why things aren't or haven't been working out for us as a people. But now he's giving us a chance to return back to that, thankfully.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, if you are allergic to something and it's just causing you to get sick over and over, and I don't care how you change your mind or how you try to put some salt on it, whatever, at the end of the day, you're gonna get sick every time. And if you don't know this, you can't do anything about it. That's not merciful to you. You just, here we are. We know, oh, you're probably allergic to peanuts. That's why your face is breaking out. You get sick every time you have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So if you're going through this and you don't know, you can't get help. You just keep getting sick. And once you find this out, you can now remedy the situation. All right, well, you can put it to test at least, right? Doesn't mean that it works. I can say, hey, let me stop. Let me just not eat peanut butter and jelly today, see if I get a breakout. And you don't get a breakout. Then you test it again the next day. Then you can say, you know what, let me try it again. Let me eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And then you break out. Now you know. It's the same thing with this word. I just simplified it with a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. We all tried it. We come into this word, we found out, oh, I'm the children of Israel. You mean this Bible was actually talking to me? We all knew so-called Jesus was black. We all knew that. But once we say, well, why does that matter? You mean he was actually our people? And his name was Yahweh Shai? Wow. So we put these things to test and we start to say, well, let me stop doing things. Let me try to do this. Let me try to do that. We test it, right? But remember, darn that straight path, we still getting burnt. We still getting, our shoes wet and everything. Rains outside. All these things happen. But at the end of the day, the minute we decide, hey, this is fake. I ain't doing it. I don't believe none of this stuff. The Most High coming for you every time. He coming for you because you know better. When you didn't know better, then he might wink at your ignorance. He might turn around a little bit. He might just don't look because you're still learning because he's merciful. But once you know, and you, especially as a man, and you make that covenant, he's coming for you. And that's the blessing. Because what would you rather him not just let you think that he's fake and then you just end up in death? That's not mercy. All right, where we at, Op?
Verse 10.
All right.
If you shall hearken unto the voice of Yahweh your Elohim, to keep his commandment and his statutes which are written in the book of the law, and if you turn unto Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul. For this commandment which I command you this day, it is not hidden from you, neither is it far off. It is not in heaven, that you should say, who shall go up for us to heaven and bring it unto us, that we may hear it and do it? Neither is it beyond the sea, that you should say, who shall go over the sea for us and bring it unto us, that we may hear it and do it? But the word is very near unto you, in your mouth and in your heart, that you may do it.
All right. So we have this because we are his children. We innately already born with certain gifts and talents, and the world sees it. We're on display every day. But one of those talents is that spirit, that royal law. It's in us. Everybody else got to try to steal our culture, try to hijack, try to ask us questions, try to do all, to try to gain what was already given to us. So we don't have an excuse. The rest of the nations, they got to stumble onto this. This one, we born with this. So we don't have an excuse because it's here. And everybody that was given this looked like us, was our people, was amongst us. No other nation can say they had that. So it's not fair for them to be held at the same standard that we're being held at.
Verse 15. See, I've set before you this day life and good, and death and evil.
All right. So he has set, this is Moshe. He's saying, set before you is life and good. You do good, you receive life. What is good? Good is what Yah say is good, what the Most High say is good. Death and evil. What is evil? What the Most High say is evil, not what United States government says is evil, not what your dad, your mom say is evil, not what society says is evil, not what the polls say, because we all voted whether or not two men should be able to get married or two women. That's not who decides what's evil. And it doesn't matter whether you agree or disagree, because the whole world is being held to that standard, the whole creation. But the infinite and the details of doing good and doing evil, we were given that. So we're held to a higher standard.
Verse 16. And that I command you this day to love Yahweh your Elohim, to walk in his ways, and to keep his commandments and his statutes and his judgments, that you may live and multiply. And Yahweh your Elohim shall bless you in the land where you go to possess it. But if your heart turn away, so that you will not hear, but shall be drawn away, and worship other gods and serve them.
All right. So again, crossroads. Choose you life or death. You can worship and serve the Most High Yah, our Creator, the only one, or you can serve an idol. You can serve another entity, right? Whatever you want to call that other entity. But at the end of the day, he's telling you, I showed you who the real one is. Because when is this? This is after he done came and took Pharaoh out and did all. So no other nation experienced that. The Egyptians, the only other ones that could say, well, we saw it, Right. 3 days blackness. Now here's the one. Can't nobody replicate this. all the firstborns dying, even the animals.
Yeah, it was like the raining. No, it was raining something. It was like raining black or like the rain was black.
Frogs. It was raining frogs. It was, I mean, it was locusts, like all and he's bringing those back, by the way.
I also have a question. Like, you said we are held to a higher standard. Who do you mean as in we? Like, do you mean like Israelites, or you mean like people from Africa, or are you trying to say like?
Okay. Israel, all right, Israelite is a nationality. You have the 12 tribes of Israel, which are Jacob's 12 sons, right? All the that descended from those males that had a daughter who had, you know, whatever, or had a son, if they came from the males of that family, that bloodline. See, the world, they separated and they made like races, and that's made up because nobody's black and nobody's white. You have a nationality. So the nation of Israel are the 12 tribes. Uh, if you go back, which we have to do this in another time to kind of prove all these things to you, but just for the class sake, just assume that you come from the 12 tribes of Israel, then all of these things apply to you. And what I want you to listen to is the consequences, the blessings of being an Israelite, and see, does this apply to me? Does this apply to people that are like me, even strangers? We'll have a discussion offline and we'll kind of go into more of this. But so when it's talking about all these things being held to a higher standard, this one particular group, the Israelites, which is one particular group of black people from the Afro-Asiatic area, it's being held to a higher standard. And how you know is because they're the ones getting punished at a higher standard. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 18. I denounce unto you this day that you shall surely perish, and that you shall not prolong your days upon the land where you pass over Jordan to go to possess it. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I've set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both you and your seed may live, that you may love Yahweh your Elohim, and that you may obey his voice, and that you may cleave unto him, for he is your life, and the length of your days, that you may dwell in the land which Yahweh sware unto your fathers, to Abraham, to Yishak, and to Jacob, to give them.
All right, praise Yah. So let's move on. Let's go to Romans chapter 6. So we had to choose. We had to choose life or death. You choose who your parents are? No. Whoever your birth parents are, you know, your physical, biological, that's it. Now, it takes a village to raise people, but you can't change that. You can't change your blood. So at the end of the day, we're going to Romans chapter 6, and we're going to start that at verse 1. We can't choose. So our forefathers descend from the 12 tribes of Israel. We can't choose that. So all these things apply to those people that are of that bloodline. You have no choice. So being that you have no choice, the only choice in the matter is, do I want life or death? Which is a choice that everybody has, life or death. Okay, everybody, of course, I want to live. Of course. I want to be blessed, of course. Well, the other nations can say the same thing. We want to live too. And there's a route for them, which is very similar to our route. We're not focusing on that route right now. But the route for the children of Israel, very, very narrow. So narrow that he tells you in Zechariah 13 that, see how there's 3 of us in the room right now? He said 2 out of 3 of our people is being cut from the kingdom and will not enter, will never reach that full place. That's how narrow our path is. So there's 3 of us in here. 2 of us statistically, according to Israel, according to this Bible, is not going to enter in. So when people hear that, it's like, oh man, well, what can I do? I mean, it's so rare, it's so hard. Well, understand the Most High is the measure of mercy. He loves, he's the measure of love. Remember, God is love. God is love, right? So I just got thrown off of what I was about to say. It's all good. Two-thirds, right? Yeah, yeah. He's the measure of mercy and love. The point that I want to try to make is even with such a hard route, just like this narrow path, he loves us so much that he made a way for us to get in there. So it's not for you to take that measurement and be terrified because it's so difficult. It's to understand that, hey, here's a perfect example. If all three of us are in this room right now, and I'm ask you, Kylie, if you knew something was very, very difficult to accomplish, right? But your father has the ability to accomplish it. And it's very, very, very difficult. You think you'd have a better chance of accomplishing the thing that your father would help you accomplish? You think you'd have a better chance versus somebody else?
Yeah, because you're helping me.
Right, because I'm going to help you. So that's what the Most High did. He sent Christ, he sent prophets, he sent servants to help us because this is a very, very difficult path. But he has to make sure that you understand, and I have to make sure you understand that it's very dangerous and it's very difficult. It's not to make you feel like, oh, I can never do this, but it's to let you know how dangerous this is and how you need to pay attention to what's going on. So when he tells us 2/3 of us is being cut off, it's not because 2/3 of us are good people trying to make it and just, oh, I ate some pork. Oh man, that's my weakness. No. He's saying 2 out of 3 of our people ain't gonna give a damn. 2 out of 3 of our people is not gonna try to repent. Is not gonna try to change. Is gonna believe whatever they want to believe because they want to be like everybody else, which is the same thing that got us in this situation to begin with. So Romans chapter 6, how do I choose? Because we all got to keep the commandments, but how do I choose? Is it just I just verbally say that? Hey, I choose to life. Well, we're gonna see. Romans chapter 6, we got to choose who we serve.
Romans chapter 6 and verse 1. What shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? Allahim forbid. How shall we that are dead to sin live any longer therein? Know you not that so many of us were baptized into Yahushua HaMashiach, were baptized into his death? Therefore we are buried with him by baptism into death, that like as Hamashiach was raised up from the dead by the glory of the Father, even so we also should walk in newness of life. For if we have been planted together in the likeness of his death, we shall also be in the likeness of his resurrection. Knowing this, that our old man is crucified with him, that the body of sin might be destroyed, that henceforth we should not serve sin.
Amen. So that's very similar to the comment you made earlier, Brother Nathan. So how do we choose? We got to choose who we serve. Christ obviously chose to serve the Father. So in his death, his decision, if we are part of his church, we have to make that same decision. But he was the head, so it was a greater responsibility. So he physically died. But what we have to do is we have to die to our flesh or our soul, well, not soul, die to our flesh and allow the soul or spirit to make the decision. So we do that by not serving sin, by not letting our body say, oh, well, I'm going to fill myself up with all these negative things because it feels good. No, I'm going to use this vessel to fill it up with holy things and positive things because I know that's what's going to feel good in the long run. That's what's going to last forever.
Romans chapter 6 and verse 7. For he that is dead is freed from sin.
All right. So can a dead person, a physically dead person, can they sin against the Most High? No. He's dead. What are you going to do? He's unclean. I mean, that's probably his own sin because dead body's unclean, but he can't praise him either. He can't do anything, right? He's freed from sin. So we have to die spiritually to the flesh, where I'm hungry, but I'm not going to eat because it's Day of Atonement. I'm angry, but I'm not going to sin because Yah said, be angry and wrath not. That is being dead spiritually to the flesh. So you won't sin. You won't commit those transgressions. But what happens? The flesh is weak. So we try to do that and then we eventually mess up.
So it's like living along
Right.
that line. So it's like, you know, you starve your flesh and then your spirit will like be more with Christ.
Right.
That way.
Absolutely.
Walking the same path as Christ did. That's why it's like you're resurrected in the likeness of him.
Amen. You it's almost like verbatim. You just broke it down in Generation Z or whatever. I don't know what generation. But absolutely right. Absolutely right. So that's what makes us die with him because he did that while he was living, right? He was not sinning, not doing all these things, serving the Father. So he died in the flesh. And he died to the flesh. So he's not asking us to go get tortured and hung upside down and thorns on our head and spit on. He's not asking us to do all that. Most of us, at least, he's not asking us. So all we got to do is die to the flesh and say, you know what? I would slap out your mouth, but that's not righteousness. So Yah, vengeance belongs to Yah. So let me just bite my tongue and move the other direction. That's dying to the flesh because everybody else, somebody disrespect you as a young man, way we raised, you disrespect me. If I put them hands on you, guess what? No man's gonna tell you you wrong. And you really not wrong, per se, because if somebody's disrespecting, you can't allow that. You have to represent your house and your family and who you are. But we're being held to a higher standard. We can't do that. Now we're gonna defend our family and defend our honor, but we have steps to go through. All right, Tom Sheep.
Romans chapter 6 and verse 8. Now, if we be dead with Hamashiach, we believe that we shall also live with him. Knowing that Mashiach, being raised from the dead, dies no more, death has no more dominion over him. For in that he died unto sin once, but in that he lives unto Elohim. Likewise, reckon you also yourselves to be dead indeed unto sin, but alive unto Elohim through Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, our master.
All right, so that goes with what you said, Brother Nathan. Reckon yourself. So you're accounting yourself to Christ. So you're trying to do the same things that he did, and we all fail horribly at it, but that's the goal, that's the mission, that's the standard. Reckon yourselves unto Mashiach. That's what would be considered a Christian, a follower of Christ. You're reckoning yourself to him. And how do you do that? Verse 12.
Let not sin therefore reign in your mortal body, that you should obey it in the lust thereof.
So you don't let sin reign, because if your body is running you, then who's really driving the car? The car, is it a Tesla driving itself, or are you the driver of the car?
Verse 13. Neither yield you your members as instruments of unrighteousness unto sin, but yield yourselves unto Elohim as those that are alive from the dead, and your members as instruments of righteousness unto Elohim. For sin shall not have dominion over you, For you are not under the law, but under grace.
All right. So when you see verse 14 where it says you're not under law, but under grace, Christianity teaches that that means you don't got to keep the laws of Moses. So it means you can eat pork, you can, you want to be homosexual, you want to do, whatever, you can do whatever, just love. And Jesus got you, right? That's an oversimplified understanding, which was kind of templated towards the other nations to give them a chance to come in. Because again, remember, our path is more narrow. Our law says we can't eat pork, but we can give it to the other nations. They can have it. They can do that. We can't touch it. So our way is a little bit different than their way to get in there. Go ahead.
Verse 15. What then? Shall we sin because we are not under the law, but under grace? Allahim forbid.
And that's what I meant to go with that. So what that means is we're not under the law of blood sacrifice. That's why Christ died. Christ died so that we wouldn't have to either us die or animal die. We go back to the law of Moses, right? The one they're saying is put away. When you commit a sin, just like Adam did in the garden, death is now here. Something has to die, right? The mercy that was given to us was saying that, all right, death is not going to, you're not going to get death. We're going to give you a chance to repent and get it together. So, but you need to know how every time you do sin, you're bringing death into the world. So he said, all right, I'm going to let that death pass to you, to an animal. And they were doing animal sacrifices where they would, cut a calf, a lamb, whatever, such and such. So what happens is eventually a rich person, he might have 15 lambs. So he ain't trying to repent because I'll just grab one of my lambs. Because Sister Martha across the street, I know she married, but boy, did you see her? So he already lining up lambs to sacrifice. And technically, according to the law, he righteous because he sinned, so he killed a lamb. He clear. But that, we died in that. Wasn't helping us because we weren't changing as a people. So Christ had to come and say, all right, well, the law ain't gonna change. I'm gonna die and introduce a new thing where now it's not about an animal no more. It's going straight to your heart. Were you sincere? Did you really try? You can't beat that system. You can give me 10 lambs and I'll be like, oh, that brother righteous. Or, you can tell me the sob story and cry and tell me you'll never do it again, like, we do when we get drunk. I'll never do it again, all right? You can give me all that and I can believe you. You ain't going to fool the Most High, and you definitely ain't going to fool Christ. He knows, because he knows what's in here. He sees what's in here, the motivation. So what he's saying here is, shall we continue doing sin because we don't got to kill the animal no more? He's saying, nah, that's not the case. Go ahead. And this is why. Verse 16.
Know you not that to whom you yield yourselves servants to obey, his servants you are to whom you obey, whether of sin unto death or of obedience unto righteousness.
So whoever you obey, that's who you serving. So do you think the Most High is going to tell you, go break all my commandments, do what you want? Do you think the Most High would tell you that? Who would tell you that? Or the devil. Man will tell you that because it benefit him. The devil will tell you that because he want to kill you. The Most High not going to tell you go do whatever you want. He's telling you specifically you can't serve no other God but me. Right? So if we choose to just do what the devil says do, the devil say have it your way. That's the mantra of devil worships. Do thy will. That's the devil worshippers' mantra. Whatever you want, do it. The Most High said, no, do righteousness and don't do evil. So if you decide to do evil, you can tell me all day long, you an Israelite, you love the Most High, you a servant of the Most High. You serve the devil. You his servant, period. I don't care what you say. Your actions show who you are serving. If I serve the Most High, And my flesh is telling me, man, go jump on that brother's head, or man, go talk to that sister. She want to talk to you so bad. That's a married woman and I'm married. Who am I serving if I go against the Most High? I'm serving the devil. But we don't want that. We want to say, I tell you who I serve because I'm a Christian. I'm a believer. I'm this. The Most High telling you I don't care about that lip service. Your actions tell me who you serve. And you are going to serve either to life or to death. All right, so let's stop right there. Let's move on. Let's go to Luke chapter 17. Luke chapter 17. And start that at verse 7. And I missed some of the comments here. Shabbat Shalom to my big bro, Ron Hicks. Good to see you, family. Shalom, Shalom, as always, to Brother Dre Day. And Tikva Netanya Yisrael said, Creator is undefeated. I dare you to do your own research. I'm not sure what that applies to, but you absolutely right. Never have and never will lose. He allowed these things to happen for his great plan. It's very similar, like you allow a fighter to come in close to you, to get in close. You jab to keep him out, but then you might hold the jab to get an opponent closer to you in mixed martial arts or whatever the case may be. You best believe I want you in close. I'm allowing you to get in close. So the Most High is allowing the devil to do certain things to set up what his next move is. But how good the Most High is, he's able to tell you, I'm setting you up for this. Like he's telling you, yeah, I'm about to hit you with a right hand and you're going to get knocked out. If you tell me that, how am I going to get hit? You're telling me you're going to do this. That's how good the Most High. He's telling you, I'm allowing the devil to do this. I'm allowing you to go into captivity. I'm allowing you to do this, but this is what's going to happen in the end. All right. Luke chapter 17 and verse 7.
All right. But which of you, having a servant plowing or feeding cattle, will say unto him by and by, when he has come from the field, Go and sit down to meat? And will not rather say unto him, Make ready wherewith I may sup, and gird yourself, and serve me, till I have eaten and drunken, and afterward you shall eat and drink?
All right. So he's saying here, if you are the CEO of McDonald's, right? And all these people work for you, and you ready to eat. You think you're going to tell the servant that you paying money to serve your food, go sit down and eat before me? I pay you to do this. This is your job. You're not going to do that. You're going to tell him, matter of fact, go flip the burgers, get the fries, then bring it to me when I'm ready to eat. I'm paying you handsomely for it. Period. All right. Verse 9.
Does he thank that servant because he did the things that were commanded him? I trow not.
All right. So is he finna, be overly impressed because the guy who he pays food served him food first and took care of him? No, because that's what I pay you to do. Verse 10.
So likewise you, when you shall have done all those things which are commanded you, say, We are unprofitable servants. We have done that which was our duty to do.
So what he's saying is, so likewise you, all these commandments we supposed to keep. In Ecclesiastes, it says, the whole duty of man is to fear God and keep the commandments. Period. That's the whole duty. Everything all wrapped in one. So when you do your whole duty, that's like the servant that went and he clocked in, did the fries, he swept the floor, and he gave the stuff to the person that was supposed to eat. He did his whole duty. That's his whole duty. You don't get you're not saying what a great employee because you did what you're supposed to do. You're not going to get no award because you clocked in on time and clocked out on time and you did exactly on paper what they said to do. Don't nobody get recognized for that. And just like you said, you're not going to reward this person better than that. So it's the same with us. When we keep the commandments and we do what we're supposed to do, that just puts us at floor level. That's it. You are an unprofitable servant, which means you haven't profited the Most High in not one thing when you just did what you're supposed to do, which is righteousness. It's just that simple. So we have to get our mind frame together. We not better than nobody because we keeping some commandments. That's what we're supposed to do. And guess what? An unprofitable servant cannot enter. Because when I get somebody to hire them, I'm in business for profit. I'm here to make money. I'm here to produce goods or whatever the case may be. So the Most High has us to profit him. How? To teach the world righteousness, to produce fruit of the Spirit, to do the things that the world, because remember, the whole world was made for us. So we got to do a beyond and above just doing what the Most High said do. We have to be profitable. All right, let's stop right there. Let's go on. Let's go to Matthew chapter 25, Mattathiah chapter 25. So how do we be profitable? And what happens if we're not profitable? We're going to validate that. Because the difference between us and how other people teach is when I say something, if I'm not reading it directly, we don't see it. I'm going to take you back to where I get these statements from so that you know for yourself that this is true because it's in the Bible. It's not because, this guy said it, with funny clothes on. No, it's because I read it myself. So now, if you believe this word and this situation arises in your life, you know what to do. And you know that I can put my life on it because I saw it and I read it myself. But then if somebody just told you, oh, he could be wrong. I don't know. He was wrong about that other stuff. But this, it ain't ever going to be wrong. Matthew chapter 25. Man's understanding might be wrong, but his word is not going to be wrong. Matthew 25, and we're going to read 14. Start at verse 14.
All right, Matthew chapter 25 and verse 14. For the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. And unto one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to every man according to his several ability, and straightway took his journey.
All right, so talents in the Greek just meant a way of something. So like, just say I give you 5 pounds of some, well, I'm about to say the wrong thing. What if I give you a liter of some water, right? Some alkaline water, all right? That would be a certain way of alkaline, a liter. So a talent is a weight of some kind of measure. All right, so now apply that to you. Say you're the vessel, and he's giving you a certain amount of talent, ability to be good with math, good with your words, a poet, a writer, whatever. He's giving everybody talent. And he said, I'm giving you talent according to your ability. So each of us get a different amount. Some people got all the talent in the world. They great at everything. My daughter's got 1 billion talent. She's good at so much stuff. She's good at a lot of stuff. Then you have some other people, they maybe not as talented. Doesn't make my daughter better than anybody, but some people are given different abilities, period. All right, Tom Sheep.
Verse 16. Then he that had received the 5 talents went ahead and traded with the same, and made them other 5 talents.
All right, so the guy that had 5 talents, he took the 5 talents and made 5 more. So he started with 5, he got 10 now. So he was profitable to the Most High. He profited. But he already started with 5, but he flipped those 5 and now he has 10. All right.
Verse 17. And likewise, he that had received 2, he also gained other 2.
All right. So this person, he only had 2. He flipped it and now he got 4. He's still profitable. But look, even when he flipped his talents, he still got less talent than the dude who started with 5. So does that make him less worthy of salvation? He only started with 2. He took the 2 he had and he doubled it. All right, let's see the next person.
Verse 18. But he that had received 1 went and digged in the earth and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those servants came and reckoned with them. And so he that had received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents, saying, Master, you delivered unto me 5 talents. Behold, I've gained beside them 5 talents more. His master said unto him, Well done, you good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things. Enter you into the joy of your master.
All right, so the guy who flipped his 5 talents, Yah blessed him. Come into the kingdom. You made it to the place with all good things because you were a profitable servant. You started with 5 and you flipped it and came back with 10. All right, verse 22. So what about the guy with 2? He only came back with 4. You think the Most High gonna reject him? No, let's see.
Verse 22. He also that had received 2 talents came and said, Master, you delivered unto me 2 talents. Behold, I've gained 2 other talents beside them. His master said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things. Enter you into the joy of your master.
So he only had 4. He still got less than the first guy who started with 5 and flipped his to 10. Imagine if this dude with 2 is trying to compete with the dude who started with 5.
It's like every other person is held to their own different standard based on what you're given at birth.
Absolutely. And guess what? If you're of the nation that was starting with 5 talents, what you think the Most High gonna expect from you? You think he gonna be like, hey, you came with 6. That's still more than the Gentiles. They only had 2. All they had was the Christ in the Bible. They ain't had no prophets. And what do? We compete. So the guy with 2, or the guy who started with 2, right? He's competing with the guy with 5. The guy started with 5. He flipped his 2 and only had 4. He ready to quit now because I still got less than the guy in 5 that started with 5. That's what we do. But we just seen the Most High is judging you based on what you have. What you worried about what your brother got, your sister got? You gonna be judged based on what you got. He not saying, hey, you flipped your 2, you did a good job, but man, you don't see your brother right there, got 10. Man, hop your behind in that lake. That's what people do. The Most High don't operate like that. So let's see the unprofitable servant. Go ahead, Doc.
Verse 24. Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Master, I knew that you are a hard man, reaping where you have not sown and gathering where you have not strawed.
So he's saying,
And
Master, I know that I seen what you did to your own son. You not playing. You rough. Furthermore, I seen what you said to your own nation. You said 2 out of 3 of your own people not gonna make it. Now you're gonna judge me based on what I'm gonna do with my talent? I only have 1. So let's see what he did.
Verse 25. And I was afraid and went and hid your talent in the earth. Lo, there you have that is yours.
So
His
he
master,
only had 1. He didn't lose it. He did. Remember, if you keep all the commandments and do what you're supposed to do, that means you're an unprofitable servant. You didn't gain them. You just did what you're supposed to do. So he did what he was supposed to do, at least in his mind. He kept it. He buried his talent. He decided, I can't compete with everybody because I ain't come from this rich family. I ain't the smartest. I ain't the most handsome. I ain't the tallest. I ain't the best. I'm not the most righteous person. So I'm going to bury this one thing. I'm going to guarantee that I'm not giving profit to the Most High and see what the Most High says. Because you're rough. Yeah, I see what you did to the children. I didn't see you done destroy the whole city, Sodom and Gomorrah. I didn't see what you did to Pharaoh and all his soldiers. You drowned them in the Red Sea, where you can still see the wheels of the chariot of the Pharaoh's chariots. They found the wheels of Pharaoh in the Red Sea. All these things, right? So in man's, I mean, he's a rough guy. At least if I give him back the one, you knew I couldn't compete. I only had one, right? See what the Most High say.
Verse 26. His master answered and said unto him, You wicked and slothful servant, you knew that I reap where I sowed not, and gather where I have not strawed. You ought therefore to have put my money to the exchangers, and then at my coming I should have received my own with usury.
So you knew all these things. You knew who you was dealing with. Just like you make them deals with the brothers on the street and they want to front you and say, here, I got you. Just come bring these. You know what you're getting into. You know what the consequences are. But you in that situation, you think you're going to show up to the people you ain't got your re-up money? They coming for you. So it's the same thing here. You knew what time it was, but you chose, nah, I'm not. So what you should have did, if you in a situation like that and you got to come up with this re-up, you better find somebody that know what they doing, because guess what? That consequence, they coming for your house, they coming for your kids, they coming for whoever. That's how the reality is. So the Most High is no different. He's saying you should have took whatever little talent it got with somebody else that could have helped you bring me some profit. But you chose, nah, I'm scared. I'm just gonna quit. I'm not gonna walk down that narrow path, right? It's too narrow for me. Okay, see what he said.
Verse 28. Take therefore the talent from him, and give it unto him which has 10 talents.
So whatever you had, you take it from you and give it to him, because they know what they doing. The dude with 5 flipped his and came back 10. So I'm gonna take yours and give it away. Your life, your spirit, your everything, and I'm gonna give it to somebody else. It's gonna go to somebody else's family. Your inheritance, where you were supposed to have your portion in your tribe in the kingdom, nah, it's going to somebody else's family. They gonna take it. And what else?
Verse 29. For unto everyone that has shall be given, and he shall have abundance. But from him that has not shall be taken away even that which he has. And cast you the unprofitable servant into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
All right, so to everyone that was given a lot, more is going to be given unto you. Israel, we were given the most. More is going to be given us. The kingdom is going to be given us. The rulership over all the nations, even judging angels, is going to be given unto us, quote unquote, according to these scriptures, right? So more is, but now those that were given a little bit, if you didn't take that little bit that you have, if you didn't take that Gentile nation spirit you have and go seek Israel, go seek an Israelite to help you be profitable, the little bit you have is being taken away. And if you're an Israelite with a little bit of spirit, you didn't have access to a lot, you better take the little bit that you have and go seek somebody that can help you seek unto your salvation, or else the little bit you have is going to be given to somebody more worthy. And guess what? The guy that had 2, all he had to do was get 4. But the guy that had 5, if he bring 4, he only had 9. That's still more than the guy with 4, but statistically, that guy did a better job than you that did 4, because he flipped his. He doubled his. You started with great and didn't double yours. So why are you not able to double yours? But the smaller guy is. So the moral of that is, whatever you given, you better use it to multiply and profit the Most High, or else weeping and gnashing of teeth. And we know what that means. All right, let's move on. Let's go to Matthew chapter 21, and then we got 2 more for the conclusion. Matthew, Mattathiah, chapter 21, and we're going to start this at verse 33. So, by now, we should all understand that if we are the children of Israel, we are his servants. We have to serve him, and it has to be done at a certain level, and we better profit him according to what we've just read. So we've understood that. So now, how does that work in dealing with other servants, whether they be of another nation or of your own people? How does that affect? How do we work together? What are the dangers of that, and what are the strengths of that? So this parable that Christ is going to give us here, Mashiach, is going to help us get a good understanding of that and some of the danger of working amongst other servants. Start this at verse 33. We're going to read 33 through 46.
All right, Matthew chapter 21 and verse 33. Hear another parable. There was a certain householder which planted a vineyard and hedged it round about, and digged a winepress in it, and built a tower, and let it out to a husbandman, and went into a far country.
All right, so you have the Most High, the householder, right? He's the guy who owns the property. That's why they say the Lord, right? Lord is like your landlord, is the person that owns the property, or runs the property. So this householder is the Most High, Yah. He planted a vineyard and he hedged it round about. That means he put a fence around it so that, animals and stuff can't get to it, right? He digged a wine press where he can do wine, and he built this big tower, and he lent it out to a husbandman, which is somebody that's going to work the property, right? So that's us. We're the people that's supposed to work his property. Remember, this whole earth belongs to us, but we're here to work Yah's property. And he went to a far country. He went away. So he's not here to look at us and hey, what are you doing and all that stuff. He's gone. Verse 34.
And when the time of the fruit drew near, he sent his servants to the husbandmen, that they might receive the fruits of it. And the husbandman took his servants, and beat one, and killed another, and stoned another.
All right, so the Most High says, I'm going to send some of my other servants, the angels, right? I'm going to send the angels. The angel is just a spirit, all right? So this angel goes down and goes messenger to the people that's supposed to be working for the Most High and say, where are my fruits at? Where are the fruit of the Spirit? Joy, love, peace, all those type of things, right? Where's the fruit of the Spirit? So where's my physical fruit? Where's my grapes, my wine grapes? Because the owner is ready to reconcile this, right? And what the workers did, the servants, which is the children of Israel, we beat them. So when the prophets came, what did we do? Did we worship them? Did we say, hey, great job? Did we follow them? Killed them. We killed them all. Not the Romans, not the white man, not the Greeks. Israel, black people, killed our own black people. We beat them, right? Stoned them. Even keep going.
All right, verse 36. Again, he sent other servants more than the first, and they did unto them likewise.
So he sent even more prophets. Now he's sending mores and teachers and brothers on the street screaming, Israelites and all kind of people to yell like, hey, this is important, your life. I know you turn on TV and I know the world is telling you this is important. Your stock, your money, your insurance, your car, your house, with your girl, that's what the world is. You cut on TV, it's not going to tell you this, right? So the servants are saying, hey, look, y'all are beating the other servants, and I'm here to tell you, your life is on it. What do? We beat them servants too. All right, and this is going to tell you about the grace and how much the Most High love us. Me, on the other hand, you done beat my first set of servants, and I said another second servants, all of y'all finna die. If it's up to me, you know what I'm saying, in a magical world or whatever. I ain't that merciful. You know what I'm saying? The Most High, he's merciful. Keep going.
Verse 37. But last of all, he sent unto them his son, saying, they will reverence my son.
So he sent his own son, Mashiach, Christ. Surely, y'all see that this is serious. I sent my son. You weren't afraid when you beat my servants that they weren't gonna come back. You don't think the angels went back and told y'all what we did? Oh yeah, they told them. So he sent more. We beat them. So now the son shows up. Don't you think that would be enough fear in you that like, yo, what's the next step? Who else can come? So he sent the son. So what did we do? Go ahead.
Verse 38. But when the husbandmen saw the son, they said among themselves, "This is the heir. Come, let us kill him and let us seize on his inheritance."
So they figured if we, and this is what we do to this day, if we can kill Christ, right? If we can kill the word, because Christ is the word. John chapter 1, in the beginning was the word was God, the word was with God, and the word was made flesh and dwelt with us, right? So Christ is the word, right? I come in the volume of the book. Search the scriptures, and in them you think you find salvation, but they speak those scriptures, they speak of me, and I come in the volume of the book. So Christ is the word, right? So he's coming to you, and we beat him. We say, nah, I'm not doing. I'm killing this word. It's not true. It's old. It's biblical. That's back in them biblical days. You know, it doesn't. It's not for now. That was back then. You know. So we kill the word. We say, nah. Why are we killing the word? Because I want that inheritance. I want the big and beautiful things, right? I want to live forever. I want to be blessed. I want that license plate that said blessed and highly favored, right? We all want that. I want the money. I want my kids to be safe even when I'm not there. I want to be healthy. I want to be young. I want all these things. So here comes that vanity. That vanity tell you if I kill the son, the word, I can at least feel that like it's going to work out that way. But just because you feel that you can fly when you jump off a 20-story building, what's going to happen to you if you don't have something to fly with? What's going to happen? I don't care what you believe. Even the person that jumps out with a wingsuit, he believes he's going to fall. That's why he put a wingsuit on. Because if he don't put that on, he's going to hit the ground. So that's what people are doing. Killing Christ, killing this word. Oh, you don't believe that. Oh, it's man can't understand that. Nobody's perfect. It's vanity. It helps you feel good, but at the end of the day, 2 out of 3 of us not gonna make it in because 2 out of 3 of us gonna kill Christ and say this word ain't true and I ain't gonna try. I'm not saying 1 out of the 3 is gonna be perfect and not commit sin. The Bible don't say that. 1 out of those 3 people that make it are trying to be profitable to the Most High. I'm trying to keep the commandments. Man, I did something wrong. Man, I'm definitely unprofitable because doing something right is just base level. So I got to work harder. And guess what? We may never hit that level of profit. Never. But because of Christ, he knows that we are trying and we're making that debt. We're building it up little by little. And even though we might die right here when we're still in the negative, he can speak for us and say, nah, he started with less than that other one. That other one had way more opportunity. And even with his way more opportunity, he still didn't try as hard as this guy did. So he's straight. All right. So what did they do? Verse 39.
And they caught him and cast him out of the vineyard and slew him. When the master therefore of the vineyard came, what will he do unto those husbandmen? They say unto him, he will miserably destroy those wicked men, and will let out of his vineyard unto other husbandmen, which shall render him the fruits in their seasons. Yahushua said unto them, did you never read in the scriptures, the stone which the builders rejected, the same has become the head of the corner? This is the master's doing, and it is marvelous in our eyes.
So we rejected Christ, our own people. We were the ones that were saying, torture him, crucify him. That was us. Our people look just like us. You seen Book of Clarence? Gotta see that movie. Have to see. We'll probably put it on today with the dude from ATL. What's his name? What's the actor name from ATL?
I think I heard it. I know you're talking about. He like can play like a lot of different roles.
Yeah,
Right? Like,
yeah. He was in
yeah.
Get Out and all that stuff. That dude.
Yeah.
But anyways, right.
Lakeith Stanfield, I think.
Keith Stanfield. There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, yeah. Right. We definitely got to watch that movie. So, anyways, I forgot where I was. Where was I going with that?
Say Clarence then.
We're talking about Clarence the movie, but I was going there for a reason. The one that they rejected. I lost my train of thought. Sorry about that, y'all. But anyway, so the stone that the builders rejected, we reject. Oh, there we go. We rejected Christ. Everybody rejected him. The whole world rejected him. The Greeks rejected him. Even Pontius Pilate rejected him. Everybody rejected him. That same stone, that same word that everybody rejected, saying, nah, I ain't got to do this because I'm going to kill the servants. I'm going to kill the son, which is the word, because I want to feel comfortable. I feel like by doing this, I'm going to keep the inheritance of life. It's vanity. It ain't going to work. But we did it anyways. But guess what? Remember I told you we change in times? Well, we about to enter into that time where that stone that everybody rejected is going to be back in effect. Not in us only, but in the flesh to change over the way things are. Because like that lady said, the Most High is undefeated. He ain't lost. If there's still quarters in the game and it's a 4-quarter game, it ain't over until the fat lady sing. All right, let's stop right there.
Say this wasn't the Romans. This was the Israelites that did this.
We did that because the Romans just physically did it. But remember, Pontius Pilate was like, bro, this man ain't do nothing. Why you want me to kill this man? Even his wife had a dream. Pontius Pilate's wife had a dream, and she warned him, don't do that. You better wash. So he tried to come up there and say, I wash my hands of this. I don't got nothing to do with this. You remember that story? He said he washed his hands and said, I don't want nothing to do with this. Y'all want to kill this innocent man? He ain't did nothing worthy of death. Our people, the Israelites, not the Jewish people. Them people were in London. And those people, if they were there as Romans. They weren't there as Israelites then because they're Europeans. Don't nobody from Africa originate from Europe. The people that are African originate from that continent. The people that are from Europe originate from Europe, just like the Asians come from Asia.
This is Asian or like Southeast Asia.
This is Afro. This is Israel, that land, that physical land from the Nile to Euphrates. All of that is biblical Israel. But the little portion they call Israel, the state of Israel right now, is like Judah. That's like one tribe. We got 12 tribes of land in that area. All these other countries are occupying our land right now. It was our people back then when we were in our land that said, kill him, that said, kill Christ. The servants, the Greeks and the Romans just physically did it. So whose fault is it really? The Greeks and Romans or the people that put you up there to get killed? Both gonna get punished, but we got punished severely. Rome fell, they got punished. But we got punished severely to the point we don't even have an identity. We a color. How you gonna be black? What land? Where's black? Where's the land of black? If they want to make a treaty with us, who are they gonna write the treaty to? To black? Here's a treaty between black and United States. We're gonna give you $50 million in reparations for slavery. How are we gonna apply for that? Yeah, I'm from black. We the only people. Every other nation, they wrote treaties with China, even Moors, right? Morocco, which are some of them are Israelites too, by the way. But anyways, everybody got a treaty. India, China, Russia. We still paying Germany for World War II, for Hitler. You realize that? We still cutting them money because they're a nation. We're the only group of black people that don't have a nation. Every African got a nation. Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, whatever. Even tribes within that nation. What do we got? How are you? That's 2 continents. What you doing, a continental split? That doesn't make any sense. How are you two continents? And that's the new thing, African. Before that, we was named after a haircut. You Afro-American. Good thing we didn't have dreads. We'd have been dread Americans. It's ridiculous. So they're playing this game with us, and they can put another people in our house and say it's us if we don't know who we are. If you ain't never been here, right? It's your first time here, and my neighbor was in this house and he told you it was his house. How you gonna know the difference? You don't know the difference unless you got the address, you know for sure. You got all the details. Details in this book. That's how you know them people ain't us. Because the detail says that our people are black, that color burnt brass. You know what I'm saying? You can't get that. They say he olive color, right? So Christ olive color. He not black, he olive color. Okay, cool. So he's a black olive or a green olive. Which one is he? He a green olive then? So Christ was Martian, right? They playing games. All right, Matthew. I digress. Chapter 21. Where we at? Did we finish that?
Yeah, we were finished.
Praise Yah. Let's go to, we got two more for the conclusion. Proverbs chapter 24. We want to read a few verses there. So some of us, not all of us suffering the consequence of what our forefathers did. Because if we go back to that reading, we said, quote unquote, let Christ's blood be upon us, Israel, and our children. Who said stuff like that? We cursed our own children, us. That's why we cursed. Because they said, let Christ's blood be upon them who did it and us, the children of them. So that's where we are right now. We under that curse. So now that we know that, and we're where we're at, and we know that our ancestors punished the servants that Yah sent, then we punished the other servants he sent, then we even killed his son, Christ. We, our own people, just like they say black on black crime, right? We did the original black on black crime to our own people, right? And now it's on us. So we don't want to make that choice no more. We choosing not to kill him. We know this word is our life. We know. Y'all know it because y'all are young people, could be doing anything. This is the best day. Saturday is party time. You could be doing anything. You sitting in here with an old man having Bible study. Come on, that's not you. That's him. That's not normal. So all these things are being fulfilled here. So now that we make this choice, how do we deal with other servants? We don't want to kill other servants, right? But we have to work with them, but we don't have to be. If the servants say we want to kill Christ, I don't have to go because I'm a servant too. So let's read that. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 24. Proverbs, Mishlei chapter 24. And let's start this at verse 19.
All right, Proverbs chapter 24 and verse 19. Fret not yourself because of evil men, neither be you envious at the wicked. For there shall be no reward to the evil man, the candle of the wicked shall be put out.
All right, so when we see evil people and wicked people and politicians and all getting all this money and appearing like they live in life, great. Do not be envious of them, because although it looks good, what difference does it make if you in a lake of fire and you got $1 million or you dead with $1 million? It ain't gonna help you. So we can't be envious at them, because if we envy the wicked at what they're getting, and what we might end up doing is what? Being wicked too. Why? Because we want the same thing the wicked got. All right. Verse 20. Excuse me, verse 21.
Son, fear you Yahweh and the king, and meddle not with them that are given to change.
All right. So meddle not with them that are given to change. So when you see somebody is like, look, I'm going this direction, I'm gonna be wicked. It says meddle not with them. So in English, what does meddle mean? Like, don't meddle with somebody. What does that mean in English? Don't mess with them, right? That's why you got to be careful. That's not what that word means. They wrote in English and used words that can mean different things to confuse you. That's why what we do when we if we read something and we want further context, we need to see what language was it written in. So we know the New Testament was written in Greek, and what Greek word was used, and what does that word mean in English, that Greek word. All right, so when we look at metal, what verse is that? Verse 21. Metal, 6148. All right. So this is not Greek, excuse me. This is Hebrew. This is the Old Testament. So the Hebrew word that was here was a word we're familiar with, Arab, right? Arabs, like the Arabs, Arabian and all that. Arab, age 6148, means to braid. Like when you braid, like my wife took my locks and she braided them, right? To traffic, barter, to be security, to meddle, to mortgage, to be surety, to undertake. So when you mortgage something, you mortgage a property, you don't fully own that property. You are mixed with the bank. The bank got to lean on it and you have ownership. So when it says don't meddle, don't mix yourself. Arab literally means mix. When they say, when we left out of Israel, it said we left with, we left Egypt. It wasn't just Israelites. There was also Arab people with us, which were called the mixed multitude that left with us out. So that would have been people that were Egyptian, with maybe an Egyptian mother and an Israelite father, or another slave of Canaan or something like that. So what that means is if somebody is doing wickedness and they're going that direction, it don't mean don't try to help them. That don't mean if the blind lead the blind, where do they both go? They both gonna go in a ditch. They both gonna go into a ditch. So you don't have to go in a ditch just because another fellow servant want to go in that ditch. So you or anybody decides they want to head down destruction. I don't care if it's your wife. I don't care if it's your father, your friend, your uncle, whoever. And they say, I'm going to go down this route. Hey, sis, bro, we might not want to go that way. But if you're hand in hand, you're going to have to let go. I don't care if it's your little sister, your big brother, whoever. You're going to have to let go. Because how many people can go down that path? 1/3 are going to make it down that path. I wasn't asking for that answer, but that's good you're listening. And that 1/3 is only room enough for one person to travel down that path. And only 1/3 of them are going to make it down that path. So how can I go, both of us, if you're trying to jump into the fire and both of us are going in and I'm meddling with you, I'm mixed with you, I'm going to go in there too. He didn't ask us to do that. So if somebody, I don't care who it is, there should never be more loyalty to that person than the Most High.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
God also said that don't try to fight sin to run from it. To never sin is happening, don't try to fight it. To flee from that, because that's God's battle in a way.
What do you mean?
Like let's say you have this kind of like feeling to do something, it's better to flee from it than sit there and like wallow in that feeling.
Right.
If you have a person around you that has this wanting to do something like that, instead of like being with them while they're doing it, you should flee from that, because even if you're maybe not participating, but you're like in there letting them and watching it and like, absorbing the same thing, you're kind of like putting yourself in the same situation.
Right.
Same thing when God also says that when he's talking about adultery and like you sinned as soon as you thought of it, like as soon as you thought of like committing adultery, you sinned.
You already did it. Right.
You already did it. So it's always best time. That's why he says to flee from that kind of feeling and leave that to God's battle, and maybe
That's good. That's very good. Good understanding. Absolutely. Resist the devil, he gonna flee from you. And then you have to this thing called silent consent. You know, when a man and a woman get married, according to our law, the first time a husband hears that a wife made some kind of vow that is bounding her body, bounding her soul, like she finna work here for 30 years or she finna give up this, or do whatever, the husband can override it the first time he hears it. But if he doesn't say anything, he can't come back a week later and say, nah, she can't work for you because he gave consent. Silence is consent. You know, you have to actually speak. Nah, I'm not, this is wrong. I'm not doing it. It's not good enough to just sit there while somebody's doing wrong. You got to say something. Now, you're not responsible for what they do. You can't force them. No, I'm not going to let you do. You can't do that. You can't meddle yourself with them. All right, so that's really what I want to get there. Let's go ahead and go to the conclusion. Let's go to, and the point that I want to make. All right, so meddling. Here's a physical explanation of it, right? Oil and water. They won't mix. They can exist in the same cup. One is going to be up here. The other one's going to be down here. The oil up here, the water down there. All right, that's the law. Righteousness. Righteousness going to stay up top. I can't go down here with you. Your lower self, like they say. I can't do that. All right, that's not meddling. Meddling would be like fruit color in water, right? You put fruit color in that water, what color is the water turning? Whatever color the dye is. That's mixing. You can't, that water is not the same no more. You can't do it. You know what I'm saying? So with people, it's the same thing. If you want to do wickedness, to try to affect you and talk to you, but I can't go down that route with you. And if you're hell bent, says, can you take fire in your bosom and not be burnt? Can you sleep with dog and not get flea? No, if you meddle yourself with this, you're gonna get those things. But vanity is believing I'm gonna jump off this cliff with you because I know that this is bad somehow because I'm with you. We're not gonna both fall. You're both going to fall. All right, so here for to go to conclusion. 2nd Ezra chapter 14. This is again in the Apocrypha. 2nd Ezra chapter 14 for the conclusion. Second Ezra chapter 14, and we're just going to read 28 through 35 for the conclusion.
Second Esdras chapter 14 and verse 28. Hear these words, O Yasharal, or Israel.
All right. So who are he talking to? Hear these words, O Israel. Who he talking to? He talking to Israel. So this whole book is talking to us. The entire book is talking to us. If it's not talking to us, it's going to be specific. All right. If you don't know he talking to you, you can't heed the instructions. Verse 29.
Our fathers at the beginning were strangers in Egypt, from whence they were delivered, and received the law of life, which they kept not, which you also have transgressed after them. Then was the land, even the land of Zion, parted among you by lot. But your fathers and you yourselves have done unrighteousness, and have not kept the ways which the highest commanded you. And for as much as he is a righteous judge, he took from you in time the thing that he had given you. And now you are here, and your brethren among you. Therefore, if so be that you will subdue your own understanding and reform your hearts, you shall be kept alive, and after death you shall obtain mercy.
So this is what we have to always remember in the things that we go through. It's so much deeper than right now. It's easier for me because I'm older than y'all. I've had it. a lot of lifetime, hopefully more. But when you're young, it's like you can't really fathom that concept. You know what I'm saying? Because you're like, man, I'm just getting my feet wet. I'm just out here. But you can't lose sight that those who are able to subdue their own understanding, the way you think, the way, I think that you should do this, or I think, if you're able to control that and say, I know I think this, but let me run it against the truth. Let me run it against what the Most High says so that I can make the proper decision. That's subduing your own understanding. Your own understanding ain't always wrong. Sometimes you're naturally, remember, we were given the gift. So naturally, we got this word in us. And if you're able to not use your own understanding, it says you will be kept alive, which means you're walking life, you will live longer. And then it says right there, after death, you should obtain mercy. And what people try to do is they try to make it look like this life after death thing is a Christian thing. Like, oh, it's Christianity. It started with Christ and all. This is Ezra. Christ ain't even on the scene. This is back when we were in captivity, getting ready to go into the land the second time. He's talking about life after death. Verse 36. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's all I want to read. So again, he's way back in these times talking about now that we would go into our captivities, that we would forget who we are, that we would return to doing wickedness. And if we subdue our own understanding, because how you think and how you operate is based upon how you were raised. You think a little bit different than Kylie. You were raised different. It's not a judgment of good or bad. It's just you were exposed to a different thing than my daughter was exposed to. All right. So we were all exposed to different things. Fortunately for her, she was exposed to a lot of good things and some bad things. The good thing she was exposed to is the truth, the understanding, the way of life. She was exposed to that. But other things she was exposed to maybe before I came into the word. I came into the word at about 30 years old. So she had a couple years where I was still kind of worldly or whatever. She might have got exposed to certain things that she might remember, or maybe not. Those things that she got exposed to, good and bad, are affecting the way she thinks right now, today. And that's what every husband or man has to realize when you're dealing with your wife or a woman or your woman, that she is thinking just like you're thinking based upon what you were exposed to. That's how you understand things. So what we have to do is say, I know I was raised, or I know I experienced this thing which caused me to understand this way. I'm going to hold that understanding and run it up against the instructions of life, the Bible, the basic instructions before leaving earth. I'm going to run it against that and try to make my decisions that way. Most of us weren't taught that way. We were just taught, just do this or just do that, whether it's good or bad. We were told certain things were good, certain things were bad, but most of us weren't really given the details of why it's good, why it's bad, and how do we know it's good and how do we know it's bad. So we have to make that choice. We are all at this eternal crossroad. This crossroad isn't just for an elder when they become an elder and now they're at this crossroad because they're about to die. That's his crossroad. We got people, look at the guy. I remember when what's his name? Extension or whatever the guy used to like back in the day. Extension, whatever. How old was he? 26, right? He was, or 24. He was 24, right?
He was young. He was like 23.
Something like that, yeah. He was at that age where a lot of people died, rappers died because of the number, the numerology stuff. But anyway, he was young. You think he thought he was at a crossroad? You think Pop Smoke thought he was at a crossroad? Or Young Vaughn and all these people? You think they thought that surely I'm gonna turn down a little bit later. I'm gonna stop banging. I'm gonna stop this gang, when I'm in my 30s. They all thought they had time. But we are all at a crossroad because none of us know the day or the hour. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. So we have to make this decision. And in making that decision, we got to choose life or death. We have to choose. Can't nobody choose. Your parents can't choose for you. Your husband can't choose. Wife can't. You have to make that choice. And in making that choice, you have to understand who you are. You understand that you're Israel, you're a servant of the Most High. There's a different standard. You have to make sure you're serving him. If you're of another nation and you're blessed enough to be exposed to this, you're going to have to choose to not serve who your nation is serving. Your nation served a whole different God. Whole different angels is ruling them nations. You have to do something that's out of the ordinary. I have to go serve the God of the slaves, of the Hebrews, of the people that the world is laughing at, the people that say when you move in a neighborhood, the property value go down. You got to serve their God. That's counterintuitive, but that's the way to life. So they are going to have to make a choice too, just like we have to make a choice. So we have to choose life or death. So praise y'all. That's all we're going to do. We have any last questions before we close? Anything?
Well, I had a question, yeah. It was so basically the entire like Middle East was like it's kind of when you like facing or what that was Israel is.
Well,
So like kind of like that whole section of the Middle East, like Saudi Arabia, Turkey,
a lot of it
all
is.
that was like the original Israel.
Right. From the Nile River in Egypt to the Euphrates River. Everywhere in that region, that's a lot. Part of Saudi Arabia, all that. But you go ahead.
So in what? So all the people that were in that region that were like residents of that region were part of like the 12 children of Jacob.
Not all, because we had other people that stayed in that area as well that were dwelt. The 12 tribes doesn't span from Nile to Euphrates. That land belongs to us, but the inheritance is smaller. They had other nations that were also in that as well, that are also like our cousins. That were also sons of Abraham, like the Bedouin people, like some of the Arab people are Shemite like us, that are from the same forefathers, but they're like cousins because we don't have the same fathers. So that you use the word Middle East. Where's the East or the Northeast?
Middle East of Asia.
So the Middle East is an invented term. It's no such thing. There's continent of Africa, which went all the way. If you go back to the earlier maps, the Middle East was all considered part of Africa.
Yeah,
it was all considered part of Africa. And then you had, say, created Europe. How is Europe a continent? Continent has to be surrounded by water. It's connected to another continent like this. So Europeans, they made a lot of stuff up. So from the Nile to Euphrates is Abraham's inheritance, which the Hebrews are the responsible for that whole area. But specifically the 12 tribes of Israel were mainly in Gaza, Palestine, in that area, Israel, what they call the state of Israel, and Jordan on the other side of the Jordan River, and parts of Saudi Arabia and stuff like that are parts of the biblical 12 tribes of Israel. All right, let me see if we got any other questions. All right, so that's all we're going to do today. So again, we're Israelites Gathering. If you've gained anything from our classes, you can tithe towards our ministry at our Cash App, which is # sword ATL, S word ATL. If you'd like to donate some canned goods, clothing, jackets, things like that for the poor that you'd like for us to distribute, you can email us at info@israelitesgathering.com, and you can come by one of our facilities and drop it off. If you haven't already, download our application for the cell phone at Israelites Gathering on Android and Apple. So that's all we're going to do today. Yah's will. Everybody enjoys and has a safe Shabbat. and we will see you next week. Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and Shabbat Shalom, Brother Cassette.
Shabbat Shalom.
Does Shabbat means 7 or does Shabbat means like a greeting, like Shabbat Shalom? That's a greeting, and then Shabbat is like the Sabbath, right?
Hold on one second.